We are James and Michelle. Welcome to The Thai Life. We are so excited because we've hit a huge milestone here on YouTube with 10,000 subscribers, which we've just surpassed in the last week. So thank you to all of the people who have been watching us for the entire time. And thank you so much to all of our new subscribers. We're so happy you're here to join us on this journey. For our new subscribers, we'd like to do just a really quick recap to let you know what we're up to. We are currently standing in the excavated hole for our rammed earth geothermal year-round greenhouse that we're in the process of building.
Yes. So we started this May of 23. We dug the hole for the excavation, and then we ended up sitting for a bit after we poured the footing, waiting for some of the equipment that we needed to carry on with the rammed earth. So it's been a bit of a long haul, because I've never built with rammed earth before.
Yeah.
So figuring out the whole process, we're very pleased with how everything turned out. And we kind of worked through basically every kind of weather you can imagine, from 40 degrees above to 20 degrees below, having to heat and hoard the rammed earth. Also very wet conditions. So we learned a lot through the process.
Sure did.
Yeah, but very pleased with the result overall, especially as a test project.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially for never doing it before.
Yeah, so we are very excited to be moving on, and
to the climate battery.
Yeah, the climate battery is the next thing, but prior to doing the climate battery, we had to get in a few things. This pad and pile that we're standing on.
This not very aesthetically pleasing thing that we are going to talk to you about and show you how we did today, because it is an important part of this build. It's not exactly the most exciting thing, but it had to be done.
Well, back and forth with engineers.
This part is like a little bit like not my forte, so take it away, James.
Yeah, so I was back and forth with my engineer involved in the design of this project. We have a big beam that goes side to side in the greenhouse, and he originally had 2 of these in place, which would create 2 posts within the greenhouse, and I was trying to eliminate them all together. However, we eventually settled on having 1. So this is the engineering for the pad and pile. The pad is going to be 11 inches thick, 54 by 54, with a grid of 10M, 8 pieces each direction, and then 4 verticals of 10M into a 12-inch sonotube / pile.
And it's for structural.
It's holding up the roof, basically.
Yeah, it's important.
It's a big span. We're 44 feet across. But again, the greenhouse is 30 feet by 44 feet. We're just under 1,300 square feet inside, I believe, 1,200 square feet inside of growing space, which is pretty good. You're going to have your hands full.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can I stop you there for 1 second? The reason we're using rammed earth as opposed to...
They use timber or aluminum.
Yeah. Like we said, we want the greenhouse to function year-round, and we are doing a geothermal climate battery. So we chose rammed earth for its thermal mass properties.
As well as its aesthetics.
Yeah.
I wanted to make something pretty for you.
Yes. And it's also something that from anything that we've seen on YouTube or really anything anywhere, it's never been done. Rammed earth has absolutely been used to build homes and buildings, but not a greenhouse, and not to be used for its thermal mass properties, for geothermal. So I just wanted to put that in there for all the new people, in case you're wondering why we're doing this crazy rammed earth stuff.
It's definitely a little excessive.
It's totally excessive.
So
isn't going anywhere.
We're aware of that, but I mean, the intent is to build more with it. So, and yeah, it's again, we're very pleased with it overall, and can't wait to be moving on.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I completely sidebarred you.
That's fine.
So we're talking about the engineering.
Okay, so we did get our first layer of sand in place
last week.
Yeah, we got our first layer of sand in place, and that brought us up to the top of footing. It was really wet in here, so I just filled in where the pile itself went. What that actually did is help suck up a bunch of the moisture that was in the ground. And of course, then I had to dig back down to the unexcavated earth.
To put in this.
Yeah, to put in the concrete pad. And then also prior to doing that, ran like the underground water lines for our hose bibs. We have two inside, one on the outside. And then we also have like a manifold with valves so we could turn them on and off as we need in case one breaks. All of the hose bibs are cast in place within the round earth wall. So we ran conduit prior to ramming the earth, and it's given a really nice finish to the hose bibs. So I had to come up with a way that I wanted it to look, to be nice, and really at the end of the day be super easy for Michelle to use. I'm sure I'll be using it too because she'll be like, babe, can you go water?
Yeah, I got a lot to water.
Either way, I wanted it to look nice. We've been running garden hoses from the house
To our greenhouse and our garden, which is like crazy long. We have, I think there's 3 hoses.
It's like
4.
200 feet.
Yeah, that are hooked all together.
So now
and then they
with
have
the
to be wound
outside,
up.
now with the outside hose bib, it's much closer to the glass greenhouse and the garden,
Yeah.
so we can reduce that by more than half.
Yeah.
So we got all the hose bibs in. Everything went pretty smoothly. Pulling the PEX was a little challenging with the 90-degree 2-inch conduits that I ran in to the wall. However, it did work. It was just a little hard to feed the PEX through. Everything comes into a manifold here, all connected with PEX, and I've got 4 different valves for each hose bibs. I've got 3 hose bibs, 2 outside, 2 inside, 1 on either side of the greenhouse, and then 1 for a sink. So we're gonna have like a prep sink in here. That is where we can wash off the vegetables, which is going to be, basically there'll be a counter of some sort above here. I was thinking stainless, but I might try to do it out of round earth. That'll go, actually, all that gray water will go into a sump, and then we'll reuse that water to water inside the greenhouse as well. And then we also have an exterior hose bib, which is the top one, and I can put a blow-out valve on there so that one doesn't freeze. I'm not worried about anything else freezing as long as the greenhouse is operational. Also have pressure tested everything. It's holding, which is good. So I am definitely not a plumber, but learning.
Yeah.
And so everything's, it's tucked nicely into the wall, and the water lines are run through conduit at the bottom, or basically at the top of footing, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're coming out in little holes in the top of footing. And we get our water from a well. So that was, in a previous video, we trenched water lines from do we do it from the house?
Yeah.
So the well goes to the house, and then the house goes to here. We trenched those water lines in. Yeah, it's been a lot of planning. James has a construction background, thank goodness. So he knows how to do a lot of these things. He builds houses from the ground up, and thank goodness, because there's a lot of little parts and pieces that if you want rammed earth to function as a home or as a greenhouse, you have to put into place before ramming the earth, because once this earth is rammed, it's not going anywhere for like 1,000 years. So yeah, really, really cool what he's done, and all the little functions that he has for me for water and power is great. I'm super grateful.
I can't wait for you to be growing stuff in here.
I know.
So in order to get prepped to pour the concrete for the pad and pile, after I dug back down to the unexcavated earth, I had to cut 2x10s, 2x12s. The depth of the pad was called for 11 inches. So I actually used 2x12, which is 11 1/4, and some 2x10. And then once I had the formwork cut and assembled and put it into the hole, staked it up, set it level to just above the exterior footing height. And once I had everything set and level with the formwork for the pad itself, I then cut a whole bunch of steel for the steel grid that goes within the poured concrete. And that was like pretty much a 7-inch grid, 2 directions. And once the steel was all cut, placed, and then tied together, I then moved on to just making sure that the actual sonotube location was going to be center of the location was going, which was slightly off center from the pad, but not perfect. But we want to make sure we get the pile exactly where we want it, because it needs to be center. It needs to be center within the long direction, more importantly than the other direction. But both of them are important. So once I had the location marked out, I added a couple of 2x4 cross braces in order to get the sonotube secured. And once the sonotube was secured at the base height, I then made a collar, which would go on top of a wooden collar, which would go on top of the cardboard sonotube. And what this does is it gives you something nice and solid to attach your bracing to, which is the next thing I did. Is we attach the bracing to the collar and then stake it into the ground and set the sonotube pump, which is level vertically. So if you ever hear the term pump, it's level vertically.
So now that James has done all of those things, I get to help him pour the concrete. So we're going to show you how we did that right now.
Okay, so now that we have the pad and pile set, I'm gonna mix up some concrete with the mix and go, same mixer we use for the round earth. Gonna do a 1, 2, 3 mix, so 1 part cement, 2 parts sand, 3 parts aggregate. So it's the same materials we were using for the round earth. And then we're doing 40 kilo bags of cement, so they're saying 18 liters of water. And I hope that works because, anyways, that's what this was designed for. And we want the mix to be workable enough to come through the bottom chute. And then we're going to try to shoot it into a wheelbarrow through the bottom chute and fill up the whole pad and pile. And I'm going to need Michelle to help me do some measurements just to make sure that we're good with where we want it to be. She needs to hold the smart end of the tape. So let's get going. We've got, my guess is we're going to have to do 5 or 6 loads. We'll see. So we got a good slump to this. It's holding itself. We'll probably add a little bit more water. My concern is that it's not going to come out of the bottom chute, so I think we just do a test bucket. If you add too much water to concrete, it will weaken the concrete.
gonna get bumped up. I'm gonna make the next one a little wider.
In there.
So I just need you to hold the piece for me here. So I don't have to balance it. Can you go down a bit? A little more, a little more. Yeah, right about there. And a quarter. I can maybe go an eighth that way. I'm not terribly unhappy with that. Now I need to do the same thing, but over on that side.
Okay. Is it anywhere by the well?
Nope. See, there's a line on the ground. Not on the ground, on the footing. Right about here. Just trust me.
Okay.
That's gonna be real good. It should be close to 20'6".
We're down a bit.
Yep, so I gotta come that way. So just stay there for a sec. You can hang on to that still. Just see what that says, because it's probably gonna say something close to that. Actually, I can't do it. Okay. Which way did I say I have to go? Toward me?
There's no line. Am I a little too hard?
A little bit towards you. A little more? Yeah. That's pretty good there, babe. Not that pretty. We got it poured yesterday, our pad and pile. It took 6 loads, I guess 6 or 7. Not the prettiest job on the pad, but this is all getting covered up. Most important part is the pile, which is going to support the post, which is going to support the beam, which is going to support the roof. So I'm going to get this stripped off, all the stuff cleaned out of here, a little bit of the fill. put in and around the pad just to even it out. And then we're going to start on our climate battery, finally. And that's the main reason why we went so deep with this greenhouse, is to attempt to install a climate battery. There we go. Whew. It smells like concrete. Curing concrete. Give that a sniff. Shitty. She'll cure up just fine.
Next time on the Thai Life.
But this is for our climate battery, so this is our chickens are going crazy right now laying eggs. A male and a female hen. My voice is echoing from the pipe. Hello. Looks me.
Yep.
Geothermal netty.